Big news has arrived for the Gunners. Want all the details? Then follow me until the end of the video. But first, if you love Arsenal, show some love. Subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications. Here, we post daily news and behind-the-scenes footage from the Premier League's biggest club. Arsenal's overlooked signing could be the spark in Arteta's title ambitions. As the international break enters its second and final week, there's a growing sense of anticipation at Arsenal. Soon, players will return to London Coney, and Mikel Arteta can finally get his full squad back together. But while most attention has been on the club's usual stars, one name quietly making waves could soon steal the spotlight: Piero Hincapié. Signed on loan from Bayer Leverkusen in the final hours of the summer transfer window, with a view to a £45 million permanent move in 2026, according to Football.London, the Ecuadorian defender has yet to step onto the pitch in Arsenal colours. In fact, he hasn't even trained with his new teammates yet. Just hours after signing, Hincapié was on a plane to South America to represent his country in World Cup qualifiers. And that's where things got interesting. In Ecuador's gritty 0-0 draw against Paraguay, Hincapié quietly delivered a commanding performance. Starting as a left-sided centre-back, he earned a 7.6 match rating on FotMob, the second highest in his team, only behind goalkeeper Hernan Galíndez. It was a match that demanded defensive resilience, and Hincapié rose to the occasion. Calm, composed, and physically dominant, he helped shut down wave after wave of Paraguayan attacks. It was the kind of performance that reminds everyone why Arsenal made the move in the first place. Hincapié is far more than just a depth option. His versatility allows him to slot in as a centre-back or at left-back, offering Arteta the kind of tactical flexibility he craves. He's fast, strong, fearless in duels, and he loves driving forward, a trait that could benefit Arsenal's transitional play, especially with attackers like Victor Gyökeres hungry for quick, incisive passes. With the club still dealing with an early season injury crisis, the timing couldn't be better. Arteta has had a thin squad to work with during the break, with many players sidelined or on international duty. Only a few, like Kepa Arrizabalaga, remained at London Coney, and even then, training options were limited. But hope is on the horizon. Ecuador's next match is a big one, a clash with tournament favourites Argentina, scheduled for midnight, UK time, this Wednesday. Once that's done, Hincapié will head back to England and could participate in his first Arsenal training session as early as Friday. That gives him just one day before Saturday's Premier League match against Nottingham Forest at 12:30 p.m. It might be too soon for a debut, but the excitement is real. Behind the scenes, there's growing belief that Arsenal may have landed a hidden gem. A player who, while not yet under the Emirates spotlight, has all the tools to become a key figure in the club's title pursuit. If he can bring the same intensity and composure he's shown for Ecuador, Hincapié could quietly become one of the most important signings of the season. Sometimes, it's the signings that make the least noise that end up making the biggest difference. And for Arsenal, Piero Hincapié might just be that difference maker. What makes Hincapié's arrival even more intriguing is how it aligns with Arsenal's long-term planning. The £45 million option for a permanent deal in 2026 wasn't placed there casually. It signals genuine belief in the 21-year-old's potential to become a cornerstone of the defence. At a time when Arsenal are not just chasing trophies but building a squad that can compete consistently at the highest level, this kind of foresight matters. There's also a clear gap in the squad that Hincapié could fill. With injuries impacting key defenders early in the season, including uncertainty around players like Jurrien Timber and recurring fitness concerns for others, Arsenal's backline has looked stretched. And while William Saliba and Gabriel have formed a strong partnership, the lack of depth, particularly on the left side, could become a problem as the fixture list intensifies. Hincapié offers a ready-made solution. Not only is he physically suited to the Premier League, strong, quick, aggressive, but his game intelligence is already beyond his years. He reads danger well, stays composed under pressure, and isn't afraid to step into midfield or launch an attack when space opens up. These are the exact traits Arteta looks for in his defenders, especially in a system that often sees the backline pushed high and exposed to counterattacks. And fans are starting to take notice. Clips of his defensive interventions against Paraguay, and even from his Bundesliga days, are circulating widely on social media. There's growing chatter among the Arsenal faithful that Hincapié could be more than just a squad player. He could become a starter, pushing for a regular place as the season develops. Some have even compared his profile to that of Lisandro Martinez at Manchester United, another South American centre-back who defied early doubts and became a key figure in English football. The fact that Hincapie hasn't trained with his new teammates yet is a small hurdle, but it's one he's expected to overcome quickly. Sources close to the player describe him as extremely driven and eager to prove himself. His commitment to the Ecuador national team has been unwavering, and now, he's ready to bring that same hunger to North London. The international break will end with a high-stakes match against Argentina, currently South America's top side. If Hincapie can hold his own against players like Messi, Lautaro Martinez, and Julian Alvarez, it will send a powerful message, not just to Arsenal fans, but to the Premier League as a whole. Once he returns to England, all eyes will be on him. Whether or not he starts against Nottingham Forest, his presence on the bench, or even in the matchday squad, will be a significant moment. It'll mark the beginning of a new chapter, not just for Hincapie, but for an Arsenal side determined to go one better this season and bring home silverware. And if his early signs are anything to go by, Arteta may have found exactly the kind of defender who can help take them there. Postecoglou's appointment could give Arsenal a timely boost in their Premier League title push. Nottingham Forest are set to appoint Ange Postecoglou as their new head coach, and while that might be big news for Forest, it could be even better news for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. The Australian manager, who unexpectedly left Tottenham after the 2024-25 season despite winning the Europa League, is now preparing for a fresh challenge at the City Ground. His first match? A trip back to North London to face Arsenal, the arch-rivals of his former club, at the Emirates Stadium. It's a poetic twist. Postecoglou will renew his brief but memorable touchline rivalry with Mikel Arteta, only this time, with a very different squad at his disposal. During his time at Spurs, Postecoglou earned praise for his bold, attacking style of football, a philosophy that produced thrilling moments going forward but often left his teams exposed defensively. It was a high-risk approach that ultimately saw Spurs suffer 22 defeats and finish a disappointing 17th in the league, despite their European triumph. For Arsenal, Postecoglou's return to the Premier League brings with it a hint of familiarity and opportunity. Arteta holds an unbeaten record against the 60-year-old coach, 4 matches, 3 wins, 1 draw, and a combined scoreline of 8-5. While the margins of victory were narrow, the Gunners were consistently the better side. They controlled the tempo, dominated possession, and dictated the flow, yet often lacked the clinical edge to truly bury the game. Now, with Postecoglou taking charge of a Forest team that has historically struggled at the Emirates, the odds are once again in Arsenal's favour. In fact, Forest's recent record away to Arsenal paints a bleak picture. Their last 4 visits to North London ended in defeat, with the Gunners scoring a total of 15 goals in those matches. However, when the fixture flips to the City Ground, it's been a different story. Arsenal have won just once in their last 5 visits there. That's why this first clash under Postecoglou's leadership, taking place at the Emirates, feels so crucial. It's a rare chance for Arteta's side to strike while the iron is hot. They're returning home after smashing 5 goals past Leeds United, and although they're coming off a painful 1-goal loss to Liverpool, the title race is far from over. If anything, the managerial upheaval at Forest could give Arsenal a short-term edge when they need it most. Realistically, Postecoglou won't have much time to implement his ideas. He'll be inheriting a squad low on confidence and structure, and with only days to prepare before facing one of the league's most well-drilled sides, the challenge couldn't be steeper. There will be media buzz, fan excitement, and a lot of speculation, but in the modern game, the new manager bounce is more myth than magic. That said, Arteta won't take anything for granted. While much of his pre-match preparation would have been tailored to Forest under Nuno Espirito Santo, that playbook now goes out the window. Instead of focusing on tactical systems, Arsenal's coaching staff will likely switch gears and analyze individual matchups, exploiting player weaknesses rather than game patterns. It's a different kind of preparation, but one Arteta and his team are more than capable of handling. For Arsenal, this moment matters. With every fixture becoming more critical, and the title race tightening with each passing week, even a slight advantage can have a big impact. And with Forest in flux, Arsenal have the chance to assert themselves early, keep pressure on their rivals, and remind everyone they're still firmly in the hunt. Still, while Arsenal might benefit in the short term, the arrival of Ange Postecoglou at Forest does raise some important questions for the rest of the season, both for the relegation battle and the title race. Postecoglou's style is anything but conservative. His teams play with freedom, fluidity, and a relentless attacking mindset, traits that thrilled Spurs fans in the early months of last season. But in a team like Nottingham Forest, fighting to stay above water, such a bold approach could either spark a remarkable turnaround, or lead to tactical chaos. Forest's squad isn't naturally suited to his system. Unlike Tottenham, they lack ball-dominant midfielders and progressive fullbacks. The team has struggled for consistency, particularly away from home, and with Postecoglou stepping in mid-campaign, time is not on his side. That means he'll have to adapt his philosophy quickly, or risk exposing a squad that has already shown signs of vulnerability. For Arsenal, however, this turbulence could create a perfect storm of opportunity. Mikel Arteta, now in his 5th season in charge, has built a team that thrives on stability, preparation, and structure. With Arsenal fighting tooth and nail for the Premier League crown, every small window of advantage, tactical, mental, or emotional, must be taken. Facing a team under new leadership, in transition, and coming into the Emirates, where Arsenal have been ruthless, gives the Gunners a psychological edge. Moreover, Arteta will quietly relish the chance to reinforce his dominance in this particular managerial head-to-head. Though their rivalry was short during Postecoglou's Spurs tenure, the results spoke volumes. Arteta's Arsenal outclassed Postecoglou's Tottenham on multiple occasions, not just in terms of scoreline but in overall control and quality. It was clear which team had the stronger identity, and it wasn't Spurs. Now, with Postecoglou returning to the Premier League under new banner, the narrative picks up again, and this time, Arteta holds all the cards. But beyond just the tactical duel, there are wider implications for the league. Forest's appointment of a high-profile manager signals intent. It shows that clubs at the bottom are no longer playing it safe, they're taking bold steps, and that unpredictability can ripple across the table. Teams like Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester City, all vying for the title, will need to be sharper than ever against smaller teams, because the margins are tighter, and surprises are always lurking. The next few weeks will reveal a lot. If Postecoglou can somehow get Forest firing, Arsenal's trip to the City ground later in the season might not look so straightforward. But right now, with a fresh manager, a disjointed squad, and little time to prepare, this is Arteta's match to lose. And make no mistake, Arsenal must win games like this. If they want to lift the Premier League trophy for the first time in 2 decades, they can't afford to slip up against teams in transition, even if those teams are led by familiar, charismatic faces. As for the Emirates clash, it's more than just another league game. It's a test of focus, maturity, and killer instinct, 3 things Arteta has been drilling into his squad from day one. With title hopes on the line, and a shaken opponent on the horizon, Arsenal now have the chance to strike, and remind the rest of the league that they're not just contenders, they're serious, battle-hardened challengers.